Excuse me. Excuse me. What in the world are you thinking?
Mean Gene, the first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say.
What up, y'all? It's KMB, the Sexy Ninja, in the place to be for our Paper Saber universe, and this is the New World Podcast, brother. We're talking about Monday Night Raw, December 11th, 2023. Michael Cole, Wade Barrett on commentary. We're in Cleveland, Ohio. We started off with a package with Drew and Sammy. What happened last week with Drew taking out Sammy, then Drew taking out Jey Uso, and him screaming, "The truth will set you free." Whatever that means. But we have our first match of the night is Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre, but Jey Uso cuts a promo before this match. Drew comes out, cuts his promo, and it gets down to like, you're going to get a yeet down, yeet, you know. And Drew spoke some truth, though. He's like, he goes, I'm not lying. I'm not lying when I tell you this and I tell you that, you know. It's asking the crowd, like, hey, if someone hurts your family member, would you want revenge? If somebody did this, would you want revenge? Yeah, it's normal. And so Jey Uso and Drew go at it one-on-one. Hell of a match to start the show. I mean, they took each other to the limit. Drew McIntyre got the win, but man. And that finish, I really liked it because it didn't hurt Jey. You know, the turnbuckle was ripped off by Drew. Then the ref sees it, tries to put it back on, and then Drew just jams his fingers into Jay's eyes, and that's how he gets the win. And I was like, okay, you know, just straight up like, this Drew is vicious. This Drew is vicious. You know, the things he's done in this match, he ain't someone to fuck with anymore. CM Punk package, a Shinsuke Nakamura warning, awesome graphics, animation, and all that, you know, taking the character to a different level, which I love, you know, and the mist and everything that Shinsuke has done so far, warning Cody, like, hey, you know, your story is, you know, and that was the big word of tonight. Story. My story, your story, our story. So every time I heard the word story, I was like, take a drink. So story was the word of the night, folks. And the Judgment Day backstage, they're, all of them's backstage. And Dom doesn't have his championship no more. Rhea's like, what the hell happened? Finn was like, what the hell happened? And everything like that. Damien's just mad and everything. And they're like, you need to lock the doors the front and back so R-Truth doesn't get in here. But Judgment Day, they're like, we're going to go handle business. Okay? And Rhea tells everyone, like, hey, man, we need to get back on track. We need to show everyone why we are the Judgment Day and we're taking over. You know, that's one of the things that I really took away from this, is that the fact that they are kind of losing some steam, but they need to regain some steam, you know, and that's just part of groups in general. Like, they get Judgment Day, was that one, they started Raw, ended Raw, you know, now they're in that midway point. They got some stuff with R-Truth, but nothing against R-Truth. I love R-Truth. We got the Alpha Academy backstage with the Creed brothers, and they're backstage, and they're pumping up Maxine because she has a match against Rhea Ripley next. And here comes R-Truth with Christmas lights. He goes, yo, dog, I'm trying to find the Judgment Day's clubhouse. You know, I'm going to put some Christmas trees up. And Chad's like, I don't think that's a good idea, Truth. He's like, nah, man, they're cool. So Rhea Ripley versus Maxine. Not on Rhea's part, but for some reason, I don't know what happened. I've been praising Maxine for a while, especially as every time she gets in that ring and how great she looks. But this was sloppy on her end. And Rhea's trying. I could see some frustration in Rhea. Like, okay, you know, like there's some moments there where like Maxine it just wasn't like gelling, you know. And Ivy Niles is there, but Rhea Ripley, of course, gets the win, and she gets Maxine, you know, more. She like puts her in a submission and just holds her there afterwards. Ivy Niles comes in, and this is where I was like, now this is interesting. Ivy Niles and that face of hers, the face she makes, and just looking at Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley looking at her, I'm like, oh, I want to see this match. I really want to see what these two can do, and I'm very interested. Carter and Chance package, because they got a match later on. Adam's backstage, and he goes into Punk's locker room, and next up, the big one, CM Punk has decided he is going to be on Monday Night Raw, exclusively, not only choosing Raw, but saying he is home. He's used that word a lot lately, and guess what? Here comes Seth freaking Rollins. I'm sitting in my chair like, oh shit, this is happening now? This is happening now? Like, what? Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, get the click, like, turn it up. Turn the TV up. Seth comes out. Great stare. Just a stare down between the two. And it was just like the tension. You could feel, you could cut the tension with a knife between these two. And then Seth gets on the mic and he tells him, like, hey, yeah, use that word home. This isn't your home. This is my home. And somebody, I saw on the TikTok, was like, this promo sounds familiar. And Hangman Adam Page saying, when he was going against Punk, saying this was his home. So I was like, oh, okay. But back to this, I feel like Seth means what he's saying. We've heard in interviews and everything. They're like, when did you know that CM Punk was coming back? And he's like, the night his music hit. Just the same as you as a viewer. He goes, that's when I found out. And then there's footage out there of him being pissed and whatnot. Is it a work? Is it not? I think this is just a real, this is just real for the both of them. And Punk's going to do business. I think Seth finally came around to understand, like, yeah, I'm going to do business as well. But I'm going to tell you this truthfully, from the bottom of my heart, with every fiber of his being, he tells Punk, I hate you. And I was like, damn, but that's where I had the but. If you work yourself up, and he tells him, he's like, this is your last chance. You've gone everywhere, this and that, blah, blah. And Punk cut a great promo. He didn't bring up AEW, but he kind of mentioned, like, yeah, when Rowdy Piper went to WCW, it kind of hurt me. It was like a betrayal. And when some people say, like, since I went away and then when I did what I did, it was a betrayal to them because WWE is where I should be. He goes, and it took a long time to grow up and understand that this is where I need to be. And, Seth's going at Punk. Punk's not saying a thing. Then Punk finally grabs the mic and he goes, hey, that is the first and last time you'll ever talk to me disrespectfully. And he says, hey, Adam, you want to cook things up? You want to get things started? I am entering the Royal Rumble. And, Seth, if I win, I could be or could not be going after your championship. And I was just like, oh, the stars are aligning. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And these two, these two in the ring was definitely, the crowd was like, holy shit moment, Oh, so good. So good. Ivar and Bronson Reed package. Bronson Reed versus Ivar is the next match. And you talk about two big, meaty men taking on each other. Crazy finish. Bronson Reed got the win. But, man, these two were... My TV was shaking. That's how devastating these two were hitting each other. And bam, boom, bam. My TV was like, stop, because it was too much meatiness on the screen, just body slamming each other. Oh, such a good time. Bronson Reed got the win, but I think this story is far from over. Punk's backstage. He meets up with the Judgment Day. And Damien's like, yeah, if you finish your story or whatever, just remember, he's Senor Money in the Bank. And then my wife brought up, she's like, what's going to happen with that now? Punk, like he said in his promo on Friday, I am the monkey wrench that was thrown into the system. And now everyone's, the course of storylines and all that are going to be going in different ways and not the way we thought. And he's right. Because now it's like, you look at the Money in the Bank, I'm like, what do we do with that now? Like, do you have, Punk win it, then Damien comes out and cashes in? Or do you have Damien try to cash in and completely lose favor of having that Money in the Bank? So I felt in the course of things that Damian was going to be a world champion, not the undisputed, because I feel like that's still Cody's championship to chase after, but at least the world champion and main eventing a WrestleMania of sorts. But now that Punk's here, anything goes. Anything fucking goes. So, it's crazy. Judgment Day come out. They're talking about how they're going to reinstate their dominance and Damian being Damian. Then here comes R-Truth. He says, hey guys, I try to go to the clubhouse, but the doors are locked, front and back. And Damian's like, come into the ring. And they're like, oh, we like you, Truth. And, Finn's like, I like you. Truth is like, I got some suggestions for the Judgment Day. We kick out JD McDonough. No one likes him. And if you look at JD McDonough's shirt, because they already had this shirt out, but his name's not on it, so he has a piece of tape over that he says, and JD McDonough, which made me laugh. R-Truth getting some great pops. And Damon goes, yeah, they all like you. They all like you, except me. They start beating down R-Truth. Here comes the Creed brothers. And what I liked in this moment was Damian and Finn were like, yeah, let's go fight. And Dom and JD were like, hey, don't take these guys lightly. Don't take them lightly. They're the real deal. I like that. I love that. Because we're actually showing that the Creed brothers are a threat. And they can win those championships if they want to. And Dom and JD saw that firsthand in their big tag team match. And they are warning Finn and Damian. So that was one of my favorite things. CM Punk's backstage. Adam Pearce is backstage. And then Drew McIntyre. Drew's like, looking at CM Punk. But my favorite part is Kofi comes in. Then Chad. And then Ricochet. And I like CM Punk gives Kofi a hug. And he looks at Ricochet and goes, I heard you're terrible at video games. And then he leaves. And I'm like, But Adam Pearce has a suggestion for these three, for Kofi, Chad, and Ricochet. He says, hey, I had an idea about the Intercontinental Championship coming to me in my office. I'm like, oh, is a tournament going to happen? Huh. Caden Carter, Katana Chance versus Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae Ray. Okay. Piper, Chelsea on our commentary. Caden and Katana got the win. Nothing crazy. It was a fun match, but we're trying to build these two so they could take on Piper and Chelsea for those tag team championships. DIY's backstage. Imperium interrupts because they got a big match coming up next. It's a 3-on-3, and they're like, yeah. And DIY's like, we have somebody. And Gunther's like, whoever you have, don't worry. We're going to beat you anyway. The man comes out. This is a big one. And she's talking about that moment 5 years ago when she got busted in the face. And all across the world, that's when the man was born. I remember that night. I remember the blood and how badass she looked. And so much so, I remember someone I know a few people got tattoos of that moment. It was a moment, and then, Nia Jax got fired and this and that. They never met each other back in the ring. 5 years in the making of storytelling, and here comes Nia Jax. And Nia Jax said something that made me be like, oh, because they're taking jabs, real jabs at each other. And she goes, it took the woman to make the man. And, telling Becky that you need this more than I need it. You want to make sure that by pure luck, that I made you. We're two sides of the coin, Batman and Joker, and you want to prove to yourself that it wasn't a fluke. Because if I really did hit you, I would have knocked your ass out. So I was like, okay, I'm invested. I'm invested to see where we go with this, how far we're going to take this rivalry between these two. It's been 5 years, and it could break down all the way to WrestleMania. It could break down all the way that long, or even the Royal Rumble, getting these two, knocking each other out of the Royal Rumble. Then it sets up a match at Elimination Chamber. No, this is a WrestleMania match, in my opinion. This is a WrestleMania match between these two. And we could etch it out. But I do like what Nia says, you need this more than I do. And I know that got under the man's skin. Jackie's with Cody Rhodes backstage. He's got a big one talking about, his match. He says, all right, Shinsuke, I don't respect you. I don't like you, but we're going to fight tonight. And, I'm going to take you out. Cody Rhodes is, he is ready to take on Shinsuke Nakamura. Next up, we have Imperium versus DIY and The Miz. We can't be in Cleveland and not have The Miz. That's what I'm saying. I haven't seen him in a while, but he came out. I was like, oh, good, The Miz is here. Like, if we did a Cleveland show with no Miz, the fuck? And I like, too, that Punk mentioned that in his promo. He's like, man, this is a place I got attacked by Randy Orton. Then they told me I was stripped of my championship. This is the night I walked out on this company that, Cleveland has some bad ghosts, has some bad history here, and I'm going to erase all that, And I really like that Cleveland. And he was right. Like, every time I was like, oh, yeah, they were in Cleveland. Oh, yeah, they were in Cleveland. And, I was like, yeah, we're in Cleveland. Where's The Miz? We got The Miz. Great match. Imperium, DIY, The Miz. Fun, teasing Gunther, teasing Miz. And DIY and The Miz got the win. But I love backstage when Imperium is going bantering against each other and The Miz just walks up and he's like, hey, I want my rematch. Just to fire in The Miz's eyes because he looks so great in the match tonight. Like, he looks Gunther dead in the eye. He goes, I want my rematch. And Gunther's like, you know what? I'll give you your rematch. But if I beat you, this is it. As long as I hold this championship, you can no longer, go for it as long as I'm champion. And Miz is like, deal. Let's go then. Let's do this. And I could see the fire. I could see the determination in his eyes. The Miz is ready to take on Gunther, and I think we're going to get a banger of an Intercontinental Championship match sometime soon. When? I don't know. Because now, we don't have any more pay-per-views. We're done. Not until January 27th when the Royal Rumble rolls around, and that's still a good month and a half out. Or a month. Yeah, a little bit more over a month. So there's a lot of things that have to go into factor here, and it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy because we're going to be building up the Royal Rumble. You already have Punk and Cody Rhodes going to be in the Royal Rumble. You can't sell this any more than that. And it's just going to be a good time for us wrestling fans. Now the main event, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Cody Rhodes. Fun match, good back and forth. How does this end? It ends with Shinsuke Nakamura hitting the mist. That red mist. I like the fact that it's red. And this is the way we end the match. No one wins. We're going to continue. Because it would be kind of funny to have this build for this type of story. These two, hey, every time I say story, take a drink. With these two. And ending it here. After a couple weeks of this shenanigans of Shinsuke, doing his thing, then Cody, then now we got here. This is the blow-off? No. I like that it's still open-ended. It's like, you know what? Shinsuke is still so bitter about a lot of things, and he still gives Cody the mist. And then he starts beating him down, and here comes the Creed brothers. I was waiting for the Judgment Day. But, they try to roll Cody out. Then Shinsuke attacks him one more time. Walks out with that devilish grin, and that's the way we end Monday Night Raw. Hell of a show. Great promos, great matches. Solid 5 out of 5, man. I had a good time from top to bottom. And this is Monday Night Raw, December 11th, 2023. Michael Cole, Wade Barrett on commentary. Cleveland, Ohio. All right, y'all. Tell me what you thought of the show. Drop those comments below. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, share it, grab a share with the bum down at Walmart. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com/New World Podcast. Get yourself that sweet nWp logo created by Penta X. And remember that the New World Podcast is for life, brother.
Welcome to Monday Night Raw!